What's up, y'all? This is Rom coming back at you with yet another smartphone couch video. A woman will always view a man's looks through the lenses of her race and culture. And to be clear, when I say culture, I mean social class, I mean her religious background, her educational level, everything about how she navigates the world socially. There's always like basically even relationships overall is always biology filtered by culture. Yeah, there's a basic level of biology and everything, but then culture is always going to adjust it, enhance it, take away from it, something. It's always going to be there. And now, to be clear, men do the same thing. We're going to view women ultimately through race and culture. Ultimately, even though she looked good to us, we forget about all the other stuff in general. But like one time with that, speaking of how men will look at a woman, I never forget this. There was a post on IG, and it was about this. It was showing this white woman, and she supposedly had the perfect ass, right? The perfect ass. And you know, brothers like a big old butt dunk. And brothers were looking at it like, hell no. Hell no. But that was a cultural thing, though. That was a race and cultural thing. And, but talk about how women are looking at a man's looks. Man's looks. Oh, okay. Yeah. Something popped on my screen. But it's not some first of all, it's not some universal thing. Anybody trying to promote, oh, it's objective and all of that. Bullshit. That's cultural chauvinism. Trying to think, oh, this type looks better to every woman on the planet. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. You get 1,000 women, they ain't gonna agree. Right? They are not gonna agree. But what they are going to do when they looking at a man, they're always looking at him first through the racial lens. Like I give you an example. I remember I talked a while ago about some women. It was on an IG post I saw, and this dude was asking these women, a black man was asking these women, okay, what makes y'all think a man might have some good, he said cucumber, but you know what he meant, good dick. And more than a few of them said big nose. But if you look at a lot of people, you look at that cultural chauvinism, they say, oh, you got to get that nose done. You got that big nose. But then some women going to look at that and be like, yeah, daddy. But that's a racial thing, also a cultural thing. And that's on a basic level. That's just a basic level. That's just a basic level because if you go any place on the planet, you talk to any ethnic group on the planet, women of any ethnic group, and ask them what they consider most attractive on just a pure physical level. Just the physical. We ain't even bringing the cultural factors yet. They generally going to say the men of their own race. They generally going to say that. Generally. Now, even in situations where there's a crossover interracially and everything, regardless of it, that's when cultural factors actually come in a lot. And the cultural factors, like I said, I already talked about social class. Because if you take a woman in a poor background, she's going to look at a man differently than a man in a richer background. She's going to look at it. Or even, I'm going to tell you what. Okay, like we always talk, I talk body game, and then you got some guys say, oh, you got to be 8% body fat and all of that. In many third world countries, you got some weight on you. You look like you got some money. You look like that's a cultural thing. It was like, oh, wait, he got some meat on him. You look like, oh, he can eat? He can eat well? Shoot, that's a cultural thing. That's a cultural thing. And then, even then, it still depends on the, the racial group and everything. But then the cultural factors. And then social class is just one thing. Now, I always talk about my young friend. I haven't talked to her in a while. But, and she She's like very, very strong in her Christian beliefs, very strong. She won't deal with any man who don't look like that clean cut Christian dude. That's cultural. She don't even think of him as attractive. I used to joke with her. I said, yeah, you get that guy with those tattoos, got those locks. She said, no, he got to be clean cut, no tats. No tats. In fact, I've seen some comment creators saying, hey, if you want to be sexy, you got to have those tats. It depends on the group of women that you're dealing with. It depends on the group of women, because you get some women, you got some tats, shoot, they're getting wet. They be taking off their panties talking about, hey, I won't be needing these. But you get another group of women, depending on their social class. And this goes even, this ain't even counting the race thing. Because I've seen this in the white community as well. You know, it's like you got those tats or something, they like, they shine away from you. They don't think it's cool. Or if it's blatant, like if you got a tat that's hidden, they shine away. Because I've known some upper class white women, and you see their men, you can't see a tat on. You see them with their men, no tats or anything on them. You know, and you know what? Because you also got that whole thug thing and everything, and you know, some women ain't messing with a thug because their social class, their education level. The other week when we were talking about that whole Ebony K. Williams thing. That's a class thing. They looking for a certain type. And even some people pointed out that she was dealing with some white guy. That's still a class thing. That's a culture thing. So when you talk about your looks, it depends, because it's nothing universal. So it's not just they going to just look at your bone structure, because first of all, when a woman is looking at a man, she ain't just looking at his bone structure. She looking at how he's presenting himself, his posture, everything, his level of confidence. They looking at they're trying to read his personality. They looking at all of that, you know. They looking for a certain vibe. But see, that's going to be filtered. So if they're a certain race, it's filtered through that. It's certain social class, educational background, or even subculture. Subculture. Let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about that, because in all groups there's a subculture. Like if you get a woman, and you know what? Let's spread this out. This ain't just like a black thing. You know, I met some women. I got a very good friend. Well, I'll say acquaintance. Weird place. I knew her sister a little bit better. White woman. Young white woman. Very physically attractive. Very physically attractive. But the thing is, she's covered in tattoos. She's covered in tattoos, right? Her man, which I'm just like, look, I need to just get married. And we joked about it too, about her, because her man is a tattoo artist. And he ain't no Chad. He's a white guy, but he ain't no Chad. But he's covered in tattoos too, and he does tattoos. I joked with her about, yeah, I can put tattoos on your ring fingers. And she was like, yeah. But what influenced her to get the guy? She got a child with the guy. What influenced her? She got all these tats. She's seriously, facial tats, everything. He got tats all over him. That's a cultural thing. That's what she finding attractive. That's what she's finding attractive. It ain't just, might have been a racial thing, okay, but also his subculture. I mean, that's it. That's how he make his money, through that tattoo subculture. So that influenced her. But then I've met others, they might have been, and this is women across races, they might have been more on the religious tip. So they get that clean cut guy, the money guy, like they more upper middle class. So they get that guy who's presenting that, And like I said like in the third world country, I always say third world like that. You get many places, you got some size on you. The women, shit, they thinking, oh, he got some money. Because they're more pragmatic in many places. So they thinking, okay, let me deal with that guy. Looks better. It's like so many factors. And I'm sharing that because you get a lot of guys and they feel like, oh, I don't look like anything, or they worried about their looks. No, it just depends on who you dealing with. In fact, I told you about this guy I knew who was he was a wheelchair athlete. He was a brother. He was hitting me with some game. He said, "Yeah, when my when I shave my face, I'm clean cut. I get the white women. But when I have a mustache, I get the sisters." It's like, man. And in fact, and then in a video, was it yesterday or day before and stuff? I talked about that whole shaved head thing because I said like, now see, I'm gonna have some women. They're gonna be like, "Oh, you got a little bit up there. You need to shave it." But what I specifically say, the whole bald and beard thing is a big thing within the black community, especially older man. If older man got the beard game, head shaved, he still gets some play. But then you get some guys saying, "Oh, you bald, it's over." That's maybe within a certain racial group, maybe within a social class, subculture, whatever. But bald and bearded, that's big in the black community. But that's a cultural thing. But also, that's not the only thing. Because if you talk about, I would say the more, like within the black community, you talk to more alternative, like they not the mainstream, maybe more Pan-African or on the Rastafarian thing, more natural, vegan, holistic, those like herbal tea type of women, herbal tea, shea butter type of women. Oh, you got those wild locks, shoot, they getting wet. They saying, hey my king, hey my king, I won't be needing these. I won't be needing these panties. It's a different thing. So it depends on who you dealing with. Like even your look. Like you can't, like one thing I would say, as you present yourself, yeah, there's certain biology and all that with that, right? There's certain biology. It's always going to be there. But then you got to take, then the next step is a racial thing. But then if you look at who the woman gets with, it's going to be it's going to represent her. In fact, on a deep level, you can tell a lot about a woman. Not so much with the man, because it's, regardless, if she down to fuck, let's just be real, she down to fuck, a lot of men will put up with a woman, even if they don't got the same thing. Same class or anything. We'll go across classes, cultures, whatever, if she can back that thing up. Let's just be real. Let's keep it a buck, y'all. Y'all know. We'll do all that. She got a fat ass or big breasts, whatever you like. We'll cut through all of that. Women ain't the same way. Women ain't the same way. So you can tell a lot about a woman by, if you want to get an idea, like a good way to find out what's going on with a woman up here, and you ain't trying to get with her. Let's just say, find some lady friends. Just ask them what type of guy they like. And that'll tell you a lot about them. Because one thing with women, they tend to stay within their group. Now, I know people say hypergamy or something, but look, I would submit that they will stay with hypergamy within their group. So that shea butter woman, or that shea butter woman, or that tattooed woman will tend to go for the best guy within their group. So the sister with the locks, and she got the herbal tea, she doing that yoga and everything. Oh, she want that guy who got those locks and everything. Got his little pendants on and all of that. But or that white woman who, she got the locks, or she on that hippie thing herself. Oh, she'll tend to want that guy with the man bun and all of that. With his cannabis-based clothing and everything, that hemp clothing. But that's just the nature of women. And see, one of the things a guy got to say too is like, okay, what group am I in? What group you want to appeal to? And you gotta change that. Like I talked about, like, now I've shared so many pictures of me being at a function, more upper middle class function, and everything was shaved, right? But then I've also shared some pics on my IG of me with some friends at like Black Natural Hair Care Expos. And, I'm probably letting everything grow out a bit more, you know? But that's the look for that group. Every group is going to have its look. The women that you're trying to appeal to is all going to have their look. And this goes across cultures. This ain't just the same. It ain't the same thing. It's no universal. Like anybody thinking universal hasn't dealt with enough women from other cultures, enough people, and they projecting what they think is the norm. Like I say, some cultural chauvinism. But if you look at a woman, you can tell a lot about her if you get an idea of who she's dealing with. Like I say, it's a little bit tougher for men because we'll cross over some stuff as long as the woman's receptive. But even then, you can still maybe be able to tell something. Not as much. But with women, they stick with. I've seen them. In fact, a lot of women. I'm gonna tell you how deep it is. When you get these women out here complaining about a shortage of men, this is regardless of race. It's not so. It's no. If you look at the census figures, whatever, and you look at all these single men out here, there's no damn shortage. No real shortage, because really, you ain't gonna really see a shortage. It's not gonna come in until they're older. Women just tend to live longer than men. Period. They counting all that. They're not counting it properly. The issue is more of a shortage of men who fit their cultural leanings, who fit what's within whatever that particular woman's culture is. And they're not finding it because it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. They might be in a certain social class. They just not, say they upper middle class or something. They might not be in environments where they meet similar type of men. It's just that simple. Or even subcultures. Their subculture in their particular area of people who are into the things they in might be mostly women and not enough men. There's some subcultures out there like that. If you look at their events and everything, I'm familiar with several. It'll be mostly women at the events doing this stuff and only a few men. Only a few men. But that's what that's the real issue. But the bottom line is this: understand your looks. It's not going to be just like, oh, it got to look this or that. One, just look your best. And then just be cognizant of whatever culture that you're in, whatever environment that you're in, and how the women in that particular environment going to see you. Because seriously, it's nothing universal. Don't think you got to mutilate yourself. Even with your physicality. Some women, because of their racial background, cultural background, you got 30 extra pounds on you. They ain't thinking about that. They like, yeah, daddy. And then some other ones, shoot, you might, depending on where you at, you probably do gotta be damn near perfect. And even then, it's still going to be other factors coming in, because then it's like, hey, do you worship your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, or you have an altar in your home to Shango? It's going to be so many different factors they're going to be looking at. So, anyway, I want y'all to think about that and really just understand that. And if for whatever reason you have a problem with that, get out. Just see people, talk to people. Like I said, good young lady I know. Because I actually knew her sister a bit better. And her sister's like, the one I mentioned with the tattoo, very physically attractive. Man, too bad she don't like guys. It's always going to be something. So anyway, that's all I got for today. I only do 2 videos a day. I don't get 3 because, I'll be chilling. And I'm even doing this one. I got a dental appointment later this month. Y'all going to see this about noon, but I have a dental appointment. Y'all know I get my teeth cleaned every 3 months. So, take care. The dentists are evil, but stay in the office. So anyway, I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.